From introducing some exciting new faces as major characters to a climactic battle that'll decide the fate of the Empire and our beloved characters, these are the biggest reveals from Dune Part 2's trailer. The second trailer is out, and it reveals an intense montage of breathtaking visuals, introducing some exciting new faces. It gives fans glimpses of the desolate yet mesmerizing desert planet of Arrakis. With its towering sand dunes and mysterious structures, the scale of the production looks awesome. As director Denis Villeneuve continues to transport us to Frank Herbert's rich and immersive world, one of the most exciting aspects of the trailer is the introduction of new characters and the return of familiar faces. Timothée Chalamet reprises his role as the young protagonist, Paul Atreides. And we catch a glimpse of him harnessing his growing powers, engaging in fierce battles. And struggling with his destiny as the Kwisatz Haderach, it's a roller coaster of emotions that fans cannot wait to experience. But it's not just Paul who takes center stage. Zendaya's character Chani captivates with her enigmatic presence and hints at a deep connection with Paul. Their relationship's going to be a pivotal element of the story, and fans are buzzing with excitement to see how it all happens. Fans can also catch scenes with Rebecca Ferguson as the fierce Lady Jessica, Oscar Isaac as Duke Atreides, and Josh Brolin as the loyal Gurney Halleck. Some new faces also include Austin Butler as Fade Rotha Harkonnen, another young warrior whose destinies intertwined with Paul's, and Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan Carreno. Lea Seydoux and Christopher Walken are also going to be making their debuts in the franchise. It's a star-studded ensemble, guys, leaving no doubt that the performances will be nothing short of exceptional. But what's Part 2 expected to be about? Back when the sequel was confirmed, we got our very first look into what the plot was going to look like. As expected, it's going to be picking back up Paul's journey as he unites with Chani and the Fremen, still looking for revenge against those who destroyed his family. He's going to have to make a tough choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, which only he can see. The first movie only covered half of the book the story's based on, ending with Paul and Lady Jessica being accepted into the Fremen and heading to Stilgar's home. With Paul's family finished, it's going to be the duo against the Empire in this upcoming sequel, and we're going to be seeing many more of his visions, all while he revolts against the Empire. Thanks to Paul's psychic abilities, we already saw bits of what's to come in the first movie. It's obvious that the second movie's going to explore everything on a deeper level. And I can't wait for it. Keep in mind, even if you've read the book, the sequel isn't about to be a direct adaptation, so I wouldn't bet on what's to come. The trailer already hinted that it's going to be ditching a major part of Paul's character from Part 2. In the novel, Paul's known by two other names, Muad'Dib and Usul. But in the sequel that's coming up, these names are going to be totally wiped. In Part 1, when Paul envisioned the future, Chani didn't call him Usul. And now that the trailer for Part 2 is out, he's still not called Usul. In the latest trailer, we see Paul talking to Chani about what it's like to swim, and Chani asking him about his visions. Paul had visions of Chani from before he and his family ever left Caladan. And in the novel, the story opens with Paul getting questioned by the head of the Bene Gesserit about the details of that vision. The Chani from his visions is a vital part of these questions, and in that conversation from the opening is where Paul and Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Maham talk about the meaning of Usul, all in Paul's dream. But in the last film, Chani called him Paul in the dream, so why was it Usul in the novel? It's because when he joined the Fremen, he got two Fremen names. The ones I mentioned before, Usul is supposed to be a secret name that only members of the Fremen know. So he's given this name to develop a kind of closeness to his tribe. It's not really the biggest of deals, but those who've read the books know that Usul is a more intimate side of Paul. And it's interesting that they'd choose to get rid of something like that in the movies. This next deviation is a bit more in your face. Dune Part 2 is going to give Lady Jessica a bigger role than what she had in the original novel. In the book, Jessica has a small role and no major story arc. But the writer for the movies chose to change that when writing Part 2 because they wanted her to play a more prominent part. What does this mean for the sequel? Well, let me take you back to the novel for a minute first. In Herbert's book, Jessica ends up becoming a Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserit, and uses her genetic memory to learn new skills and abilities, which she uses to help Paul become the prophet of the Fremen. She also eventually learns that she's pregnant with Duke Leto Atreides' daughter and Paul's sister Alia. Then she kind of disappears into the rest of the story, but don't worry though, she's going to have a lot more to do in the movie. She might just be the voice of reason for Paul and end up helping him by feeding him important information, all through her genetic memory. In the trailer, we saw her looking a little different with her face tattoos and blue eyes. It's all hinting at her increasing closeness to the Fremen, and it's all going to be clearer once the movie's out. So let's wait it out. Her appearance marked the Water of Life, which is going to be super important in the upcoming movie, and not just because of what means for Jessica's elevation into Reverend Mother, but because the water's believed to be deadly for any man. Dune 2's likely going to involve trying to harness the power of the water as part of his transformation into the Kwisatz Haderach. The trailer was packed with more reveals, so let me get into the next one. Like how Princess Irulan was introduced, and we got some important words from her in the short clip. It showed her talking into a recorder, saying the following words: "In the shadows of Arrakis lie many secrets, but the darkest of them all may remain. The end of House Atreides." It's a bit of a tease of her being invested in noting down history, which could prove to be an important part of the story later. There's another tease from the same character regarding Paul's fate after the fall of House Atreides, which is probably meant to hint at the fact that she's not alone in questioning the hero's fate, and won't be the only one not surprised when he does return. Plus, the trailer also confirmed that Gurney Halleck is alive. The last time we saw him, he was fighting against House Harkonnen and the Sardaukar. His fate's tied to a band of spice smugglers, which is how he's eventually able to rise to power. Fans see him all alone in the footage from the latest trailer, but he's going to eventually be joining Paul on his journey. His overgrown hair might be hinting at several time jumps that we're probably gonna be seeing in the sequel. He's not the only one whose appearance has shocked fans. Austin Butler's Feyd-Rautha looks nothing like he does in the book. The novel describes him as a young man with a round face, full and pouting lips, dark hair, and sullen eyes. In the trailer, what we saw couldn't have been farther from that description. Dune 2 is turning Austin Butler into a bald, alien-looking individual with chalk-white skin. Sure, this is another deviation from the book, but this was so his appearance could match Baron Vladimir's and Glosir Raven's. I wouldn't be any good at my job if I didn't give you the biggest reveal yet, a major fight between Feyd-Rautha and Paul. There's a short scene of the two of them standing opposite each other, with people on both sides of them. This scene's directly from the book, where Feyd-Rautha challenges Paul to one-on-one combat. The battle's super important to the fate of the Empire and the resolution of the war on Arrakis. With the characters' silhouettes facing each other, prepared for combat, the scene looks bone-chilling, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. So there you have it, from a climactic battle that'll decide the fate of the Empire and our beloved characters, to introducing some exciting new faces as major characters. Those were some of the biggest reveals from Dune Part 2's new trailer.